So in about 3-4 months, when we're done with this thing, you guys can point back and say, wow, Austin,
That's right.
in a good way or a bad way. Big topic number 1 tonight. It is finally arrived, Mr. Austin Scott. We can officially talk about game week. Now, it's a Sunday evening. We're recording this. Technically, I think most people would say Monday is when it officially starts. I'm sure there's a debate about that. And who cares? It's here. We waited long enough. We are talking about the season. The struggle for you and me in this segment, though, is going to be combining all that probably could take about an hour to discuss somewhere in a 10 to 15 minute segment. Because let's be honest, we're not going to be done in 10 minutes here. And I've already wasted about 1 minute of your time. Austin's going to give mostly his thoughts here. I will be sharing mine on some other venues at E2C Network. And I'll be chiming in as I can here. But I want to give Austin the stage here. So we're going to walk through the season as quickly as we can here. Let's start here with week 1, Austin. Talk to me about UMass and how you're feeling about it.
Yeah, so just before we get into the whole schedule, I have set up these games into ones I think are locks.
Nice.
Bad, good or bad. Some I think are toss-up, but how my gut feels. So,
okay.
UMass, I feel pretty good, Kyle. I feel pretty good about
I think you're safe.
I'm safe with UMass. They had our game already. They looked pretty good, but they're coming in Jordan-Hare Stadium for the first game of the Hugh Freeze era. I feel good about a win against UMass. Starting 1-0.
There you go. I love it. I'm not going to argue too much there. Too much. I might argue for a minute. You see what I did there? It went right over his head for a second there. It came right back.
It did.
All right. Game number 2. Let's not spend any time on that. We go out to Cal. Lots of, dynamics there. First time out there. First time playing Cal. Checking that off the list. How are you feeling about the first away game?
If you're a college football fan, you love Pac-12 After Dark. It doesn't matter if this is the last year of the Pac-12 or what. You love Pac-12 After Dark. Auburn is in Pac-12 After Dark. Things are going to get crazy. I'm not expecting it to be a super clean game, but I do really feel good about Auburn going out there and winning. Cal's been struggling over the last few years. I think Auburn will be ready. I feel good and feel pretty confident about 2-0.
Can I just say to the Auburn fans out there, get some sleep the day before.
Please.
You're going to need it because especially if you're in the Eastern time zone, I likely will be in the Central time zone for this, I believe. But still, that's just one less hour. We're going to be up late. Be ready for it. I also feel fairly confident about that one, although I do think it will be a lot tougher than most fans are anticipating. The next one, you have a lot of ties to this school, Samford. I know this is going to hurt you a little bit, Austin, to talk about this. You are an Auburn person at your core, but tell me about the Samford game.
The Samford game, I feel good about Samford. It is homecoming, Kyle. You're going to cry about a video. Auburn's going to play well.
Don't even listen. You know enough about my personal life right now too that I'm sitting on the edge of emotions right now in good ways. And don't you even start bringing up a homecoming video right now. That is not fair.
It's going to be waterworks for Kyle, but it's going to be touchdowns on the field. Auburn's going to go 3-0, and then SEC play hits. But I feel good. The first 3 games, I feel good about Auburn starting 3-0.
I hate you so much right now for bringing it up. I may or may not have downloaded the homecoming video last year and have it on my desktop and watch it constantly. May not. I may have asked Jessica to come up into the office and watch it with me one time to see if I could get her to cry. I may have been the only one that cried. Anyway, we have gotten through the first 3 games. This is really where Auburn's season kind of is defined. This stretch of 4 games that we're going into beginning conference play is absolutely a gauntlet. And you can make the case for the whole SEC, but we're starting off on the road at Texas A&M. They're currently ranked 23. Don't know what to expect with Jimbo, with Petrino over there. I mean, you thought they could get it together last year. They didn't. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first one I truly have as a toss-up. But my gut feeling says I'm not sure Auburn's going to pull this one out. There was a time in which Auburn could not lose at Kyle Field, right? It was Jordan-Hare West. They had it locked down. I don't believe A&M's going to be that good of a team this year, but I think that first true road game in the SEC might cause some trouble. It's a toss-up. I feel really good about it being evenly matched. But in evenly matched games, I tend to pick home field, and so I think A&M's going to get the best of us. That might be the first loss of the 2023 season. Hope not, but I think I'm going to pick us as an L right there.
I think this game has more to do with Texas A&M than it does Auburn, because Auburn's going to be building momentum up to this game, hopefully, if they take care of business. And then Texas A&M is going to be determined, did they pull it together? Did they finally get it figured out? If they did, at Kyle Field, that's going to be tough. If they didn't, Auburn could sneak in there and get out with a win. It could go either way.
Yep.
The big one, well, not the big one, but the second biggest one, back at home, number 1 Georgia, currently ranked number 1 Georgia. Any hope to unseat the national champions this season?
I really wish that I could say I feel good about it being toss-up or a win, but I just don't think this roster is quite there yet. I think it's going to be – I think the Jordan-Hare magic will be there. People will be rocking. It will not be like the past couple Georgia games where it's been a little flat. I think Auburn will be ready. It'll be Carson Beck, the new Georgia quarterback's first true road game in the SEC. Fingers crossed for a night game. But I think that Auburn's probably going to struggle and lose to Georgia, who is an incredibly talented roster. But hey, as we already talked about recruiting, if Auburn keeps recruiting, they can be on the level of Georgia and compete with Georgia on a consistent basis. So but this year, I think Georgia's going to get them, and Auburn falls at 3-2.
I like that you pointed out that you hope it's a night game. I also hope so, and I hope that Auburn does get the win against Texas A&M, because College game day is coming. I bet that is the game they come to Auburn.
I can see it.
If that actually, kind of falls the way it should. Let's look at LSU, also a tough team in the SEC. Most people expect them maybe to be the representative from the West. Back in Baton Rouge for the first time since the streak was ended. We do have Brian Harsin to thank for that, so let's not, let's give the credit where credit is due. We have him to thank. Well, yes, and Bo Magician Nix, like just pulling stuff out of his rear end and somehow making magic down there with what he was having to work with. LSU, Baton Rouge. I don't feel like. Tell me what you think.
Yeah. I'm picking Auburn to lose their third straight game here. I think LSU is the sexy pick to win the West. I have them winning the West. I think that they are a team that is built, and is Brian Kelly has figured it out down there right now for what to do, even though he doesn't know how to speak with a Southern accent. I think LSU gets back into winning and down in Baton Rouge for a second straight time. So I hate it, and I really wish that we could beat the Corn Dogs, but I think Auburn's going to be 3-3 come October 14th.
It is truly a gauntlet, and I think you could throw this last game into it.
Yes.
Just to be honest, even, though it's at home. And folks, keep in mind, this is the last time Ole Miss will be an SEC West opponent at Auburn, and period, for every single year. So it's a special game too. Ole Miss in town. What do you think about this one? Is this where they turn the losing streak around in your mind?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Kyle, 3-3. There's going to be a lot of unhappy people with winning 3, then losing 3. If this is the way it works out, but I mean, my goodness, with Ole Miss coming in town after all that's happened in the last calendar year, nuts.
I can't even think of what you might be talking about. I don't know what's been going on with Ole Miss.
Not like we pay them any attention at all. I think Jordan-Hare Magic wins this one. Auburn is not going to lose to Ole Miss this year. I can't wait for that to be clipped and that get sent everywhere the week of. I've got Auburn winning that game. I think it's going to be absolutely rocking. I liken it back to that 2021 year when Ole Miss came into town. It looked like Auburn was absolutely about to take off with Matt Corral beating Matt Corral and Ole Miss, and Bo Nix having a good game. I'm excited for that one, but I think Auburn gets back to their winning ways against Ole Miss.
All right. Well, we got through the gauntlet. Here's what I'd like to do for these next 4 games, because let's be fair, compared to the last 4, it should be a lot easier. Let me lay out the schedule, and then I want you to talk through it before we get to the big one at the end, and we'll discuss that by itself. But at home versus Mississippi State, at Vanderbilt, if they have a stadium, at Arkansas, and then back home for New Mexico State. So walk me through those 4 games, your mind on what potentially happens with those 4 games.
Yeah, the good news is, Kyle, I've got each of those as a win. I think Auburn is on a win streak after all those. They are moving. I don't see Auburn losing to Mississippi State for the 3rd straight year in a row. I don't see them losing.
Did you really have to say that?
Look, it speaks of the magnitude, Kyle, of what has happened. I don't think they're going to lose 3 straight state. I don't think they're going to lose 2 straight at home to state. Auburn wins that game. That's also, when you think about state has had a rough year in the last year, that it's going to be a challenging year for them. Maybe not on the field. It could be, but in terms of what all they have to get through this year. At Vanderbilt, I think Auburn wins that game. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to be the worst team in the league this year, but I think Vanderbilt is improved, but just not quite enough. I mean, they don't have an end zone right now. So I'm going to pick Auburn to beat Vanderbilt. They don't have, did you see the scoreboard, Kyle? Did you see the interim scoreboard?
Yeah, I did.
That's pretty bad. Nashville people, I'm like, what are you doing? Okay, and then Auburn goes up to Fayetteville. That is another one I have as a toss-up, but I feel good about Auburn winning that game.
Right.
I just get to the point where I'm like, okay, first-year coaching staff, a lot of new faces on this team. Is there one they're going to drop they shouldn't? And I think that might be one. Arkansas, I don't see them being special or being down in the dumps, but I think they'll be about that middle of the road. On the road, I worry about them, but I think they're going to pull it out. They'll be fine. New Mexico State, my boys are going to go their first game ever. We're going to win that game. So I have 4 straight wins right there from Mississippi State to New Mexico State. I think Auburn is on a 5-game win streak going into the Iron Bowl.
And that's the key right there. That Arkansas game is really maybe a season-defining game in terms of where this thing's going to kind of go, because depending on what your prediction is, you, the listener and viewer, that could be, as an away game, kind of just dictate where you're going to go bowl-wise, the momentum you have going into the Iron Bowl. It's a very important game, and obviously New Mexico State's in between all that, but it's New Mexico State. Finally, it brings us to the Alabama Crimson Tide coming home. I would say home. They're coming home because Daddy's home in Jordan-Hare, where they will be having to sit through celebrations of the 10-year anniversary of the Kick Six and all the gloriousness that will be. Tell me, I know there's some excitement around this game always with this special year. What are you thinking?
Yeah, at this point, Kyle, with my predictions, Auburn is 8-3. Alabama, I believe, will be maybe slightly better, maybe about the same. I just don't think that this team, they have a lot of questions at that quarterback position. They're loaded everywhere else, per usual. But I think that this team is not going to be the elite Alabama team of a few years in the past. So it's a toss-up. It always is. I don't really care what the records are. It is game on no matter what happens. I have Auburn winning the Iron Bowl this year. I think Hugh Freeze gets Auburn to win in the Iron Bowl in his first year. Jordan-Hare Stadium will be rocking. I think that might be the game College Game Day comes to town. Ooh. It'll be a crisp November 25th. It'll be perfect. It'll be the best uniform matchup there is in football. I have Auburn finishing the year on a 6-game win streak, 9-3. We're going bowling somewhere in Florida, and we're happy. It's a freeze warning all year long.
You literally just took my last question there and ran with that. This is why I love having you as a co-host, because you know where I'm going with this. All right, so let me say this again. Your final prediction: 9-3 for the bowl game. Is that what it was?
9-3 headed to a bowl game. First 3 wins, second 3 losses, 6 wins in the year. That's where I'm at, Kyle. I think the ceiling's 9-3, the floor 6-6.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I think there are a lot of ways you could go with this year. None of them probably would be wrong, because it's just going to be that kind of year. Obviously, I've got more opinions and stuff that I'll be sharing on some other content here on the E2C Network, but we wanted to get Austin on the record 9-3. So in about 3-4 months, when we're done with this thing, you guys can point back and say, wow, Austin,
right.
in a good way or a bad way. So we'll find out soon enough, and plenty of discussion for that coming up here on the next couple episodes.